Real stories, raw emotions, true dignity. Welcome to Dignity Stories, where every voice matters. Asterisk, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The gate area buzzed with the usual pre-boarding chatter, luggage, wheels clicking against the floor, muffled announcements, and the occasional impatient sigh. Maria stood quietly near the first-class lane, dressed simply in a well-worn cardigan and flats. She clutched her handbag in one hand and a boarding pass in the other, glancing down at it again to be sure. Seat 1A. Asterisk, she stepped forward with a soft smile. Excuse me, I believe it's my turn to board. I'm in first class. Asterisk, the gate agent, a young woman with a sharp bob and sharper eyes, gave Maria a glance that quickly turned skeptical. Her polished nails tapped against the keyboard. Asterisk, first class, ma'am, she repeated, voice tinged with disbelief. Asterisk, Maria held out her ticket. Yes, see, it says 1A. Asterisk, the agent didn't take it. She merely leaned over slightly to peer at the slip of paper. Asterisk, that must be a mistake, she said flatly. This boarding group is for premium passengers only. Asterisk, Maria blinked, unsure if she'd heard correctly, but I checked in hours ago. The seat was confirmed. Asterisk, behind her, a snide laugh broke through the tension. A tall woman in designer heels, dragging a monogrammed suitcase, whispered to her companion. She probably printed that online. Her partner chuckled. Maria looked down, her face warming with embarrassment. I mean, it was emailed directly to me. Asterisk, the agent gave her a once-over, unimpressed. Ma'am, if you could please step aside, we'll look into it after we finish with actual first-class passengers. Asterisk, the people behind her in line had already started inching forward. Maria hesitated, clinging to her boarding pass like it might disintegrate. Asterisk, she nodded, her voice barely audible. Of course, I'll wait right over there. Asterisk, she stepped aside slowly, the glances and murmurs of the crowd sticking to her like static. She sat down quietly near the window, looking out at the plane. Unaware it bore her husband's name just under the cockpit, Langley Air. Asterisk, in a sleek, high-rise office overlooking the city skyline. The glow of the evening sun spilled across polished marble floors and glass walls. James Langley, tall and impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, reclined in a leather chair with a glass of scotch resting in his hand. The hum of muted classical music played from the speakers. His phone buzzed quietly beside him. Asterisk, he glanced at the screen and smiled. Maria. Asterisk, he answered immediately, his tone soft. Hey darling, everything all right? You should be on the plane by now. Asterisk, there was a pause on the other end. Then her voice came, shaky and small. James, they wouldn't let me board. Asterisk, his brow furrowed. He sat forward slowly, placing the glass on the side table. What do you mean? Asterisk, they said. There was a mistake with my ticket. Instead, it wasn't valid for first class. Her voice wavered. They didn't even look at it properly. The woman she made me feel like I didn't belong there. A long silence filled the space between them. James's jaw tensed. He stood up now, walking toward the floor to ceiling window, phone pressed tightly to his ear. Asterisk, what airline? Maria. Asterisk, Langley Air. He stopped mid-step. For a few seconds, the only sound was the soft clink of ice settling in his forgotten glass. Asterisk, I see, he said quietly, almost to himself. Asterisk, Maria sniffled. It's okay. I'll just wait for another flight. Maybe economy. Asterisk, no, James said, his voice now like steel. You'll do no such thing. Stay where you are. I'll take care of it. Asterisk. He ended the call, slowly lowered the phone, and stood still for a moment, staring out at the horizon. The classical music was still playing, serene, detached, but the calm in his expression had vanished completely. Asterisk. He turned sharply, already barking to his assistant through the intercom. Get me Gerald from customer ops, now, and pull the CCTV from gate 47. Asterisk. His voice was calm, but cold enough to freeze fire. Asterisk. A heavy silence hung over the boardroom like fog before a storm. The long glass table gleamed under harsh overhead lights, reflecting the nervous faces of a dozen airline executives. Leather chairs creaked as bodies shifted uncomfortably. At the far end sat the gate agent from the previous day, now noticeably paler, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Asterisk. Every eye turned toward the door the moment it opened. Asterisk. James Langley entered without a word. His presence filled the room like thunder. Gone was the relaxed man from his office the night before. This James was cold, focused, and visibly angry. His tailored suit was immaculate, but his expression was pure storm cloud. Asterisk. Behind him, his assistant followed silently, tablet in hand, not daring to speak. Asterisk. James stopped at the head of the table. He didn't sit. Asterisk. I want to know, he began, voice low and sharp. Who decided a woman with a verified first-class ticket didn't belong in her seat? Asterisk. No one spoke. His gaze swept the table slowly, methodically. He didn't need to raise his voice each word, hit with weight. Asterisk. The gate agent swallowed hard. Sir, at the time I didn't know. Asterisk. He cut her off with a raised hand. You didn't need to know who she was. That's the point. She looked down. She didn't look like she belonged. Is that it? His voice was still calm, but it had the kind of calm that terrified people more than shouting ever could. Too modestly dressed, not holding a designer bag, so she must have stolen the seat. I was following protocol. No, you weren't, James snapped. Just slightly. You were following bias, and that has no place in my company. Okay. Asterisk. One of the senior VPs tried to interject. Mr. Langley, perhaps we can use this as a training opportunity. Asterisk. James turned to him with a smile so thin it was nearly a threat. Oh, it'll be a training opportunity, all right? Every employee will watch the footage. Every manager will answer for their hiring standards. But let me be very clear, this wasn't a training moment for her. He pointed to the gate agent. The woman's voice shook. I didn't know she was your wife. Asterisk. James's eyes narrowed. You shouldn't have had to. Few people winced. He turned to his assistant. She's terminated, effective immediately, and issue a formal apology to Mrs. Langley, writing, in public, and in person. The assistant nodded, already taking notes. One more thing, James added, walking toward the door. He stopped and looked back over his shoulder. From now on, Seat 1A on every Langley air flight will be renamed. A confused murmur followed. He smiled, just barely, to be known as Maria's seat. Anyone with a problem sitting there can find another airline. Then he left, the door closing behind him with a quiet finality that said far more than slamming ever could.